Hello guys, how are you doing? Casper here with a video where we will go through the entire list of the SIL. Therefore, we have roughly 25 stocks, I think, and we will go through those just to see where we are in time. There is one stock in this mix here where I'm like, this one you should actually buy now. Great entry, but other than that, we're just looking at the stocks and see if they're still healthy because the overall view still, even though we have been pulling it back a little bit here the past, few weeks, overall the tendency, if you look at from the weekly perspective, is actually quite good. There is, as mentioned, one, maybe one and a half, which I would recommend heavily. And then we're just gonna look at the overall view situation of the stocks. It's a broad mix. You have very big companies, you have very small companies, you have charts that is really precise, very clean, and these are the ones we like the most. And then you have some silver stocks where it is just a mess all over the place. And yeah, we will look at it as always. And remember, well, I can't remember because I haven't told it yet, but Borg and I will do a video tonight. That's the plan anyways. Hopefully we can make it happen the plan is that we talk commodities and ETFs. So we have one video with commodities, gold and silver, all that good stuff. And then we have an ETF part two where we check, XLE, SIL, uranium, broader indexes, all that good stuff. So hopefully we can make it work. Sometimes, again, we need to reschedule and all that. So it is what it is. But again, we're talking with Borak every week, every month, 6 weeks. We have a talk with him and just enjoy his take on things. He's insanely good at what he does, and he has my utmost respect for sure. Good. Still, silver miners, as mentioned, overall, fairly good view. Again, could we be, at a place where we might stall a little bit and all that? Yeah, sure. But again, the trend for the most part is up. There is some that is definitely lagging, and you shouldn't go into those, in my view, because you want to be in those that is already performing, and not the ones who is lagging, unless the setup is insanely good. But good. Wheat and precious metals hit our target. Remember, we called the long here at 50, grinding, pulling back, and then we shot to our target, which was the measured move of, we have to be precise here. The measured move of this head and shoulders. Yeah, that was the original setup 50. Boom, roughly almost 100 here. And again, overperformance, sure. Again, it can easily happen. We could also be in for a period of pausing here. Overall, still looking really strong. The trend is up on the weekly, and we're making major higher highs and higher lows. So that is the trend until the trend is no more. And but the first target is hit. Actually, the second target is hit. But again, the first target, the first big target to me was that 95. Overall, still looking good. We do have cup and handle vibes as well on the very, very, very long time frame. So again, here we could do the measure, and that points to roughly 225. Again, so there in my book, over the next 2, 3 years, there are way more in the tank for wheat and precious metals. It doesn't mean you buy here. You don't buy here, even though we are longer term bullish, but you need an excuse to get in. And an excuse is not up here where you basically at all-time highs, no setup, no fractal, no nothing to get in. So if we get a pullback, let's say, and then you break, sure, then you're long again because then you can place your stop. Again, it's very important to know your risk. And right here, we don't really know the risk because we could, well, excuse me, hello, we could see, again, we could actually see that. Again, if things are getting really sour, you could see a 30% pullback. So again, if we get that, you want to buy down here. So then your risk is actually very, very wide. You're having 33% risk. That is not the best. You want to wait for an excuse. And if the excuse is not there, you don't get in. You really don't get in. Patience will prevail for sure, even though this long term looks great. Good. A bit more detail on that. We will skip through here. Korean Zinc, I don't know, zinc company in a silver ETF. I assume they get silver as well, right? Because silver is typically a byproduct of whatever the hell they are getting off the ground. Zinc, copper, I don't think they get zinc, but anyway, copper, iron, all that good stuff. That is where you get most of your silver as well. So this right here, they had a huge run up and they actually pulled up very heavily the SIL. And that was a moment where this was the only one in the ETF here that actually did well. And it's a big player. It has a very large weighting, very, very big market cap, and it pulled up the entire sector as the only ticker in that symbol, the SIL. But now we're getting down here. You can see we're getting some sort of bottoming structure going on here upon this major retest. So in order to really turn, continuously be bullish, we need to get above roughly 950, 930, give or take. And then this major component to the SIL will start to move again. And I could see something like that, to be honest, where we get like a fractal windup here over the next 6 months or so. But in an ETF, it's important to have the big players perform, otherwise they drag down a little bit. Even though silver miners in general has done really well during this period, don't get me wrong. But yeah, Pass, good old Pass here, big company, yeah. They are 10 billion. Woo, that's a lot. Very good setup. Even though it maybe looks a little bit messy, I do believe that there is order to the madness in this one here. And again, we called the long here at roughly 20. The break on that channel, which we anticipate, we never know, but we anticipate this to be the right shoulder of a 20-year head and shoulders, right? So should you buy here now with, the potential of actually doing some really, really crazy stuff? No, we want to wait for the entry. If you're long, by all means, don't change that position. It's really, really good. And I do believe that we're going to see roughly 40 here, 35, excuse me, 38, where we tag the neckline here. You can see the neckline up there. We tag that, we pull back, and then you can have your low risk, high reward entry here, or if you get a good setup here. But for now, we're definitely trending up. I wouldn't buying it here at all. Again, entries were there. That was your low risk, high reward entry. Same thing as over here, even though we had the 2020, but still, you get the idea. And here you have the same thing, right? These are the good ones where you want to pile in. So you don't want to do it here because we could risk, again, if you bought it here, and then you were sitting in a 4-year sideways, nothing. Again, we want to wait for big trend lines to break or big structures to break. And I'm actually very bullish long term here, uh, even more so if we do that. So anything north of like 40, which will happen in 2026, 2027, depending on the speed of things, then you have a gorgeous entry on Pass. We will monitor this for sure. And this will be mentioned when and if we break this overall structure and we could have 5 years of absolutely joy in Pass. Beautiful. PEA beautiful. Um, this stock here, PE and OLES, whatever that is. Again, company-wise, industrial, is it Mexican? I don't know. Could be Mexican. Bit of again, the chart is not pinpoint perfect, but we do have some order, and that is the overall uptrend here. It's not confirmed, and by confirmed, again, we only have 3, right? So we anticipate this to be the uptrend, but we're not really sure. We could maybe do the undercut there to get the highs of the IPO, but again, we do this. If let's say we had a touch here and we were doing this, then for sure the uptrend or the trend channel is confirmed. But for now we have 3 points, and you can't really have a confirmed uptrend at that moment, but we anticipate this to be true. This one here, we also talked about breaking roughly 320 when we did the last update on this, which is a long time ago, many, many months. That is this whole curvy bottom. Could that be Head and Shoulders? Maybe, 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 maybe not. Breakout backtest, boom, we're going higher. We tagged the all-time high, triangle high as well. And we pulled back a little bit, winding up, and we went again. Do you buy here? No, you do not buy here. Even though we are in a really good state at the moment, you don't buy this late into the move. If we get a back test of all-time highs at roughly 420, 420 again, it's funny, eh? Then for sure you look for longs and have a stop below, but you don't buy this late into a move. You need a reason and a good excuse to get in because it is your money that you're risking after all. OR, royalties, it seems like big company. Yeah, 6 billion, quite big. A bit messy again. That I haven't been giving any entries on this one here. It's just if you're in, you can clearly see we're in a heavy uptrend. Please remain so. There is a bit of resistance up here at like 40, 45, depending on how we get there. But this one is not a stock that has given us any entries at all. But it is still in the SIL. And we, again, it's nice to see a big company do well in the sector that we are bullish on. So heavy uptrend, 30 weekly moving average, pumping. The uptrend is fully intact, bullish structures. Sounds good, doesn't it? Sounds good. AG, this one here is actually a stock that I think you can buy here. By far the biggest, it's not pure silver miners, but it's one of the biggest miners compared to how much silver that they get. And it has been lagging quite heavily compared to other, peers. But this break here, it looks really, really good. We even had a trend line breakdown here where we also talked about if you're aggressive, you can go long at roughly 8.5. This is most likely the precursor to a breakout, which it was. Similar-ish to the EWC, actually, the Brazilian ETF, where I also think we have just been breaking similar internal structure where this is the last breakage before we do the big breakout. But yeah, this one here looks really, really good. So yeah, stage 2 starts to be confirmed and we're making higher highs. Actually, we are in a 2-year all-time high. And if we zoom out a little bit here, again, the long-term view is still high lows, flat top, almost. I know this was the first silver squeeze. And yeah, I do believe that we're on the path to roughly 25 again. And ultimately, hopefully, when we get such a break of this beauty here, I mean, what a long-term setup breakout. And you can get in at now at roughly 11 in my view. Extremely well looking. The risk, if you want to have the risk, is actually if we start to get back in. So if you want to play with the stop, again, you can do like 10%. But we could get some wiggle here and then we go. It looks overall really nice. But again, a 10% stop is almost always good. And let's say you get stopped out and you go again, you just go long again. But again, you want to minimize your risk. So overall, AG, perfect, looks good. Fresnillo was a very simple setup. Well, nothing is simple, of course, but we had a 15-year kind of wedge breakout, and it is looking insanely good. Maybe a bit extended here short term. So if you're buying here, you can be rewarded, but most often than not, the price will kill you, or we stall, so time will kill you. If you're long and you have a longer time frame, sure, by all means, it looks really great and massive breakout here at roughly 900. And now it is at 1,040, 400. So looks good, but again, maybe some vibes that this could stall for a little bit here, for the next few months. That wouldn't surprise me at all. But massive break, and we want the initial breakout to be as high as possible. So that is good. And we have taken out the highs over here. So again, could it be that we're gonna retest a little bit, swing around here? This is, I will also say it's actually part of a triangle high, even though this is the biggest. This is definitely triangle high because you also have some other structures here where you are breaking. So that is a mini triangle high. So we could do some funky, a little bit of boom, boom, and then we go again. So Fresnillo looks good. MAC looks good. The uptrend for the past 20 years intact. We had a huge wedge break, excuse me, channel break here where we played around a little bit. And again, we said somewhere above right here, that high there. We can zoom in because it's important to get the details. Again, this was our level to actually go long here. So we broke out here, plenty of backtest, and we did nothing for the better part of 1 year. But now it's finally seemed that we are having the flag and we're going to go higher. There were some bidding here, I think. Whatever that deal was, I have no idea, but we're definitely grinding higher now. But again, you do not buy up here. You don't buy up here, even though it looks good. You want to have the good entries because if you get the good entry, you can stomach the massive volatility that we have in commodities overall. TFMP, it's not a stock that by the looking of this, that I would ever get into because it's not my setup per se, but definitely we have an uptrend where we are breaking to the upside, right? Lagging a little bit, breaking higher. So as long as we're, at least for now, is keeping this trend line here, which is roughly at 30, 31, then it's all good and it's actually very, very bullish. But anything, let's say, below, and you start to, again, you can see we're getting some channel breaks also here. So yeah, anything below like 30, maybe 29, and this one could, have a false breakout. But for now, it looks insanely good. Not a stock that I have ever given any signals or, mentioned anywhere, but it's a part of the ETF, so we have to cover that. SVM, the silver core metals, I really do enjoy this overall setup here. It's a long-term setup. It's a 1 billion market cap, so not insanely big, but still not like, the micro or the nano caps. And again, these here where you had a huge flush initial, right? And then we're getting the tightness here, right? So you're getting, this is your entry. The blue wedge here is your entry with the expectation when we break roughly, let's call it 7 here, we're gonna go to like 10, then we can do some pullbacking and then we go again. So this is the mini break and most likely the precursor to a massive breakout coming. So again, if you're, I wouldn't say aggressive because buying a 5-year wedge breakout is never aggressive. That's perfectly fine, and I would do that all day long. But again, this one here is my view for SVM. So this is a really good setup. Anything north of roughly 7 here, maybe 6.7. You get the idea. Close to 7, a tad below. When you break that trend line, will be a massive entry. And yes, I will be mentioning that when we get it because it's one of those where I think this one has to be mentioned in a video for itself, like a 5-minute video where you can see that when it happens. I only do that when I have a really good setup that I'm very sure, uh, of the setup and where it is going. Then I do these small videos. So just to highlight the stock here. This one will be the exact same. And that is actually CDE, major company, 5 billion, so really big compared to metals. And this here, guys, is a 30-year trend. Picture perfect for 30 years again. Picture perfect. It doesn't get more precise than that, basically. Of course, if you really want to, I mean, but hey. And then for the past 10, we have had a beautiful windup where we are actually breaking out. And we have broken the long-term downtrend. That was the first go, roughly $8. But again, don't buy here if you haven't bought it yet. Wait for the blue. The blue will happen, let's say anything north of 9.5 to $10. Oh boy, this is one where you can actually load up quite decently into a major company. So 9.5 to $10 looks like a beautiful little sweet spot for, again, you had a 30-year breakout and then you have the wedge wind up 10-year breakout. That is fantastic. Again, CDE should be on your radar. BVN here Bit of a weird chart. No, excuse me, no, it's actually fine because we have this could be like a one-liner, yeah, where you're buying that break there at roughly 10. And we rallied to some resistance here, pulling back, wedging up again within an uptrend overall. It seems like it wants to go higher, right? So overall, really bullish on this one here. I would be buying it when we clear roughly 18, because then we have taken out these highs here, and then I expect it to go to roughly 30, which is also the underbelly of that little structure over here. So overall, really strong. And if you're long, your risk is basically, if we were to make it like a one line there, is basically the uptrend here. So anything below that, and uh, we're having an uptrend breakdown. So, but for now, it looks fantastic. It looks really good. Overall, the stocks looks quite good, even though we haven't done much for the past 2, 3 weeks. Here we have a very, very long, what's it called? Should we do like that instead? Just to be, we could do this just to make it a lot more simple. We want to do like a rail there. So this is Hecla Mining. Everyone knows this. 1970. 1970, right? And we haven't been breaking anything. There has been a lot of, yeah, really big moves, but also big collapses. And to me here, in order to break this rail, we need to clear roughly, I will actually say this high here. And then I think we start to gain a lot of momentum once we break $8. Then I am expecting a breakout. But definitely between 8 and like 9.5. And you're having a 50-year breakout, 60-year breakout, whatever that is, an insanely long time. And that's when we get all the upside for Hecla Mining. Big company as well, 3 billion. So beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Um, Here we have FYI for tuna. This was an old draw. I can see I haven't deleted it. So once we break out here, I'm expecting this actually to some degree. Again, I don't know if it does that, of course, but I'm expecting a tag to the recent all-time highs. We're pulling back to some degree, whatever that is, and then you're going to go higher. Beautiful uptrend. Beautiful, beautiful uptrend. Could you buy this here? I believe so. That is actually not the worst thing to do because we're so close to the breakout once again. Yeah, again, buying it here makes total sense. The risk and reward is still beautiful here. If not, then wait for the break of roughly 12.5, and then we're getting all the upside. Looks really good. Actually, yeah, they all look very nice, to be honest. I mean, there are no really, really bad ones for now. And it's overall very healthy, even though we have stalled for quite some time here. SSRM, basically a one channel kind of thing here. And you want to buy one once we clear that at roughly 20. Then you're breaking the upper here. Easy setup, 20 and above, and SSRM looks fantastic. Aya Gold has been messing with us a little bit. Again, we called the buy here, and then we had a huge downturn, and this is the April stuff, the tariff stuff. We have the uptrend fully intact. We have 3 on the bottom and 1 on top here. We could actually extend that a little bit. And we're also breaking this red one here and doing the backtest now. So I really like it here at roughly $11 to $12, and we are at the previous mega support. Very good sweet spot to buy Aya Gold with the full expectations of this one going to roughly 30, give or take, depending on how we get there. So looks really good. This is one I fancy, and if you have been a part of this for a long time, this has not every, but many of the ingredients that I need to have in order to make big calls and actually do like a one video only on a stock. And the EXK is definitely in that category. Again, beautiful wind up. This one here, again, if it's on, this is 20 years, that could be on the 2 hourly where we're talking 1 month. This is grade A stuff, really good. And once we start to break north of 6.6 to 6.4, I mean, we're having a ton of upside here, and you're getting a beautiful entry where in my view, is going to accelerate quite heavily. And the first target being, as always, almost always, 13, which is the highs of 2011, and the triangle high. Triangle high. So you're getting in at roughly 6, 6.5, and you have a double until you should not worry. But again, that's where you could take half off and let the rest run. And then you have, your original buy-in here to go into something else. That is one way to do it. I do believe that we're going to see way more. But yeah, this one, effing beautiful. I'm not going to curse here, but it's really, really good. Hooch Child, whatever that is, basically a one-liner. Breakout now, back testing now. It's going to resume. Big, big, big resistance here at 320. We're doing the back test here now, as you can see. And I will say here we are still perfectly fine as long as we stay roughly within this channel here, roughly thereabout. Yeah. So anything below roughly 210. Yeah, 210, and then that's your exit. But for now, we're breaking out. We're doing some back test, bull flagging to some degree. The path, I mean, the probabilities are that we're going to go higher. And especially once we clear 320, then again, boom, we're going to go to all-time highs in my view. Looks really good. ADT, also smashing it. Again, this is a setup that I rarely do, big calls or entries, but I'm often just mentioning that if we can break a rising wedge to the upside, that is where things can really accelerate. There is a lot of dangers to going into that, which we need to be care of. So because if we rally, maybe we're going to come down and backtest. And if we start to break back through the wedge, that is when bad things happen. But for now here, it looks incredibly strong, and we could actually have I wouldn't say a blow off top. That might be a big word, but definitely high, high, high acceleration right here, where we're, again, the big breakout there as well, the back test. I could see this run. Again, if I were to give like a target, I could see this one here. I could see almost 10, $9 here. And it could happen quickly because we are at that stage where things can really go somewhat vertical. Again, it looks really good. Vizsla Silver has been performing so well, breaking out here above all-time highs, doing a back test now. Overall, red uptrend, beautiful. 30 weekly moving average trending, beautiful. This here was before Substack, but that was the entry that was given. I think it was mentioned on Twitter at that point in time, and that is where I have most of my positions. So it has done insanely well. Extremely happy with Vizsla, and yeah, I think I actually bought it in Canadian, which might have been a mistake, but it is what it is. Mooks, McEwen Mining, big player, yeah. $500 million, still big in the silver space. 10-year trend line, we're flagging here. We're breaking out of the flag. This one has all the recipes or the ingredients to go higher. Anything north of $10, that is your entry in MOOCs, right? Breakout, flagging, multiple back tests. Yes, we're going to go higher for sure for MOOCs. That looks really, really good. Gold here is also a $500 million market cap company. Stage 2, again, higher highs, higher lows. And major breakout here, which we called roughly 1.5, back test again, totally fine. It always sucks, of course, to have enter at 1.5. You go to roughly 2, then you're giving it all back. That stinks. But again, it's a part of the process very, very often. And yeah, very large wedge break here, roughly 4 years. Happy days. I wouldn't do anything at this moment in time on Gold. Looks good. Abra, I'm a huge fan. I'm a very, very huge fan. And this one, hopefully, it's going to do wonders. I have high hopes for Abra. You know this. Bought a huge, huge chunk here at 2. And for the longest period, we were actually doing basically nothing for like a year. But now, again, into fresh highs. Again, uptrend, all that good stuff. So if we get a pullback down to the all-time highs at 4, roughly 4.12, you can buy into that easily. But don't buy this late here. That's, again, you can get wrecked short term, and you don't want that. KCN, Kingsgate, that's a big one, yeah. $500 million, so I will say yes, somewhat big. I want you to see this one here first. Major trend line. horizontal at roughly 2. You can see it there, right? And you bit of a back test here as well. Resistance, resistance, finally breaking above. And again, this one here at roughly 1.7 was the big go-go. Why? Simply wedge breakout. So you have a huge uptrend, and then you have a 2-year wedge breakout. You know, these 1, 2, 3, 4-year wedges breaking out, that is, again, where it's not nothing is a no-brainer, but that is where you know that you're most likely. Again, I say most likely because you're not always correct, and neither no one is. But these are the ones that if you have, other ingredients and all that, and overall the market looks good for the sector, I mean, these should be bought into with a stop all the time. Triangle high hit, yeah, we could get a pullback down to roughly 2, which is a buy. We could see a full retest, which would suck, of course, but that will also be a buy, and I'm expecting this one to go higher. So fantastic. DSV, bit of a messy chart overall, but we did have a channel here. Again, 4-year channel, you finally get the break. And then we are blasting to the triangle high, all-time high. Back testing now, overall really healthy. If you're aggressive, you can buy the retest here, but you have to have stops below. Typically, we would want something, again, we want some sort of fractal to take us in. But if you're long here on DSV, depending on time frames, again, for now, heavy stage 2 uptrend. The 30 weekly moving average is blasting, and you're still within an uptrend here. So far, so good. NUAC here is also 300 million, and this is one where I think you should have a position really soon in this one here. We have a bit of it depends on how you do the trend lines here. Again, you could do that, but again, I still believe that this one here is probably the best. And I will say anything north of 2.2 here, we're definitely breaking a 3-4 year rail to the downside. And you can see also here, the 30 weekly here is starting to not become so steep, but actually trying to make swing higher. So if we break here, I'm expecting this one to come up and actually start the stage 2 uptrend. So anything north of 2.2, that is a really good shot for NUAC. DSV, again, as mentioned previously, not my favorite setup, and typically not a stock that I'm going long in. It doesn't have, again, I have a few setups. They are very simple actually, but I have like 3 go-to, and these are the ones where I'm typically going in big time. And the Dolly Varden here does not meet that. However, it doesn't mean that you can't make money of it, because if we ever break this rail to the upside, then you can actually have a very big move. So again, there is money to be made, but it's not really my thing to take those unless something really constructive comes here, which there is actually tendencies to. We said if we break this blue wedge here at 4.1, 4.2, we could see the rally to, again, trend resistance, and now we're pulling back. So again, still healthy. Again, if you took that, by all means, do not change that. You will sell only when you break this lower trend line here. And also here we have a major pivot high as well. So you could see that actually, almost, that again here, the entry that I might take becomes better, more and more plausible, because if we can break that, then you're all of a sudden taking out a trend line that is not as steep as this one here, but you're actually almost breaking a horizontal, and then again we're expecting the upside. So yeah, I think Dolly Varden is going to do well. I think it's going to have a huge burst at some point in time, but you have to be really, really precise with your entry and your analysis on these stocks where you have a bit of a rising like that, and there can be a ton of money be made when you break the upper, but you have to really, really monitor the stock a lot more, and risk management needs to be really good. Here it is, Prim Mining, 300 million, so fairly good. Overall, bit of a messy chart, right? Not the most pretty. However, for the past 3-4 years, we've actually done some good stuff. And that's the only thing we are going to focus on. And you can see here we're breaking. I love it here. Again, you can buy it here, yes. You're not buying it perfectly, of course. Not of course, but again, that was at 1.8. Now we're at 1 point, a bit above 2, but we are just getting started, right? This one should, again, like the others, go to triangle highs. So you're getting in here at 2, you can sell half off at like 5 to keep it very broad and simple. Um, you can see here we're actually making overall bullish setups from the lows where we had a big channel break there. So I'm fully expecting 5 to get hit. Again, I don't know, I'm not 100% sure, but this is just based off of countless charts looking into seeing the outcome. Most of the time when you have these 3-4 year wedges, you go to the triangle high. And then we shall see what happens there, of course. But this one here, you can buy all day long at this moment here. Looks really good. SVL, excuse me. I would never cover this unless it's in the ETF that we're actually covering, because it's a bit of a mess overall, no clear guidance. But this here could be something, right? Some sort of weird right shoulder, head and shoulder bottom. We have a channel here that is somewhat perfect, and now we're trying to clear 13 cents. So if you want to get into SVL, which is again taking a 4 year breakout trend line, is almost always good. And we expect this one to actually be like a neckline here, right? That is the bottom structure. And then we rally. So there is some order to the madness, but again, some of the others are way more pretty. But again, if you really want to get in, again, and that's totally justifiable, totally, totally, totally. You can buy it when you get above 14 and or when you break the upper golden here at roughly 18 cents. We do have vibes here as well of shorter time frame bottoming structure. So even though it's a bit messy, there is actually a good reason to to take a position when if that happens. We don't know, but when and if that happens, that is the plan for you. AG, I love AG. Overall, it's really, really powerful. I wish, again, this was the end of the previous major bull market in 2011. I wish we had whatever happened here. Like, let's say we had something like that. I wish we had that because then we could start to do some measures, right? I wish that was in the cards for aftermath. However, not the case. But again, we do have a very sharp wedge coming in, and I'm fully expecting this to happen. And the big entry we gave was there in April 2024, of course, when, in my book, the entire bull market began for silver miners. And now we're also breaking out from this flag here, breaking out, doing some back testing for now. Overall, insanely healthy price action, and we are really happy with what we are seeing, even though, right, even though we're down 15%, actually 20% at some point in time after the breakout. For now, breakout looks like breakout, retest, resumption, in my view. So until that changes, I'm a happy man. Again, I know the pullbacks. It doesn't go in a straight line. It never does. GSV is a problem child, I will say. Again, not a stock that I would ever, I would never, but again, rarely a stock that I would do anything into. But again, I know a lot of people, and I think also Sprott, the guy Sprott is actually investing into it. He bought heavily over here, so he's deeply underwater, but I think he's still in this stock. You have to verify that yourself. Um, and then we're having some broadening structures here, right? And we're trying to get above the splitter in the middle. And if we can get above that, then we have options to actually go higher. But again, not my favorite setup. And you can also see it has been lagging quite a bit compared to other peers in the sector. So not the best. But again, sometimes, again, you might have some reasons fundamentally, or you've heard something or whatever. There is still sometimes there are reasons to get in, and you could do a little position here at roughly anything above like 30 cents. Then I'm okay with it. HYMC, the last one, I wouldn't do anything with this. We had a false breakout here, but again, looking at other, again, let's do this for fun here, just to see how, again, you just can't buy blindly here. For instance, Abra, you know Abra, I'm a huge fan of Abra. I will remain that for a long time, I think. We're gonna put that to the like that. This is the difference, right? Since the peak in 2020, Abra has actually done okay. You can see it here, right? It has actually done okay, whereas this one here has been smoked completely. So don't touch it. There are an insane amount of better options than this one here at this moment in time. I'm not saying it can't do well, because yeah, of course, if we get back above 4.6 here, it should rally. But compared to what others has done already, again, you need to pick the ones that are doing well, even during bad times. So this one here is not for me. It's not a no, not this moment in time. Have a great day. That was all. And as you can see here again, the Friday we had a very big red day on like 4% overall. But yeah, I think the overall health on the weekly is still good. Not seeing any big technical breakdowns, which is what we are trying to look for and alert for. So that's all. Long video. I hope it gave you some opportunities. If not, I hope it gave you like a view on things, and hopefully you can um, take it from there. So have a great day as always. Stay safe, guys. Cheers.